change, please note.
Followed by taxonomy of learning and education objective by Dr. Shashikala.p. Then will be the evaluation. Subsequently, we have learning process, a very important one for the adult learning. Then we have introduction to curriculum. Finally, introduction to Bible teaching. This is a slight change in the way.
Shall we start? The first topic, systems approach. Can anybody tell me about what is systems approach? We call it also as systems analysis. Systems approach, systems analysis. Teachers, not just teachers anymore than that. We are all looking to a system. So in this session, we will try to introduce, so let us know about a technique known as systems analysis or systems approach. So why should we know this? Makes it possible to analyze specific educational situations with a view to make a teaching learning process more effective. So we are talking about how effective the teaching learning process will be. So someone was telling me about a story. They said two Germans, the pilots, they were in a flight. One was a trained pilot. So he was flying this plane, and the other one was very raw. He just had something like not very experienced and not very confident, just knew how to fly an aeroplane. So it so happened that this main pilot, the experience, so he fell sick. So he had severe pain abdomen and loose stools. So he could never continue. So then what had to be done? So they called him and they said, no, somehow the plane has to land there and you have to do something. So he was not able to sit in his chair even for 1 minute. So what had to be done? So the other person was told to fly this, continue with this. He was not at all confident, but they said, no, this has to happen. But it happened. So he could safely land on a particular or at a particular place. How did this happen? They said there was a particular, whatever SOPs we write, systematically how everything has to go on, which was recorded. So they told him, keep reading step by step. So each procedure, what has to be done, he knew only basics of it. And they said you could do it, somehow you need to land, and it was possible for a very raw person who just knew very little about it to fly that, continue, then land at a particular point. So what does it speak about? So it's told that it is a system which matters. So you establish a system. So I'm there as HOD technology, I establish a system. So anybody comes next also, they know how to run the system. That is what is very essential. So otherwise each one of us will run our system in a different way or in our own way. So let us just look at this system. And this is what we have been doing for NABH accreditation. So the job description, so an assistant professor, associate professor enters a particular department, what he has to do. And And Dr. Arun Kumar, anesthesia professor and HOD, is successful. So he has very nicely done the job description from top to bottom. That everybody, what each one has to do. So even in the absence of that particular professor or HOD, the others will run the system in an established purpose, established manner. So when we were talking about the system, this was the picture Manjula gave it to me. So why did she give this? So when we talk about system, what comes into your mind? So to her it was McDonald which came into her mind. What comes to your mind? Shoe hail. Okay. So what else? Probably for a medical student he may say all the systems in the body. What system comes when we talk about system? What comes to our mind? Yes? Computers working as a system. An organization, an university. There are so many things come. So what is so special? Say wherever you go to any McDonald outlet, don't they function in a similar way? 5 minutes we serve you, otherwise your money is back. Or 2 minutes and the taste, everything. So many outlets, so they maintain that. That means they have a system. There's some 716 steps or something that is written down. Each one has to follow manual plans. So when a shop like McDonald's running, why can't we run an educational system in that way? It is not possible because intellectuals are here who could run this system. So now the systems approach we are applying to education. So this first, I think the second chapter there, everything is written. The PowerPoint is also made from the same thing. So very nice, true quote by Dr. Setu Ram. Says the problem is that physicians of tomorrow are taught by teachers of today using curricula of yesterday. Many times we do feel that still in pathology we continue to make the student do Benedict's test, which even we do not do in our central lab. Some skill has to be learned, so we feel the skill, the psychomotor skill, a student has to learn in pathology is only Benedict's. See, that is outdated, but still we are teaching them. So we have Malaysians over there in JNMC, but them also we are teaching the same thing. So this exactly what we read about this quote. So the objectives for this session, at the end of the session, we should be able to define what is a system. Then describe medical education from a systems perspective. Then role of an educator as a system specialist in education planning. So we are all educators, we are all teachers. We are not just mere teachers. So we should call ourselves or see ourselves at the level of a systems specialist. There's not many other things we need to do as medical teachers. So then what is analyzed here? System analysis. We are analyzing a specific educational situation and finding ourselves to medical education. So why? Our goal is to be, we are all good teachers. None of us say that we are bad teachers. So good could be made better, better could be made still. There's so much of scope for us to be better, best. And many of the people are using best, the superlative, they say bestest also. That means there's so much scope. So let us look at that. So who is the target group? So teachers, principals, librarians, administrators. That is a group of people who are involved into this educational system, not just teachers. And what needs to be done? Once we know what is the system, so we are at the working level. We are talking about this at the working level. So we need to identify the strength and weakness of the existing system at our level. So plan to improve it. So find plan and try to get it implemented. So that is very important. So the principal role of the system approach in educational technology is to help improve the overall efficiency and effectiveness of the teaching learning process. So again, we call this as internal efficiency. Because we may say, oh, we are there bound or managed by somebody else, a higher authority. What is the use if I do it? That is the external effectiveness. But internal effectiveness, each one of us is there as a teacher, as departmental head, or a teacher in the department. So our department definitely could do better. So definition as it is given there. We define system approaches. It's a functional entity which consists of number of interdependent and interrelated components. So meaning of a system is, it is a set of interrelated parts. These parts are unified as a whole, and each and every part is equally important in constituting this whole. And all of us know the medical science or body, if you consider any system, you know how it works and how all systems put together work as one. So human body as a system, car, university. Anything, whatever we see, from now on, anything we see, we should look at it as a system. So let us look at ourselves also as a system, teachers as a system. So I tell you what process is there in the system approach, so that helps us to improve. So the system depends on goals. So unless we have the goal, it is difficult. So these goals could be explicit, implicit, nebulous, undefined. So which is better? What goal, where we need to be? So how do we expect our goal to be? Undefined? So we do not define a goal, so we don't know where to reach, what to do. Could it be nebulous? Hazy, cloudy, not clear? No. We cannot work with a goal that is nebulous or undefined. So how our goal has to be? It should be good, it should be explicit, not implicit also. Explicit. We should have very good goals. So example, let's say, when we see somebody going to, we see John went to a restaurant to have masala dosa. That is explicit. You may just say John went to a restaurant. So what is so much? He might have gone there to have coffee. He might have gone there to meet his girlfriend, or he might have gone there to do something or eat something else or whatever. So it's not clearly defined. So let our goals be explicit. Very good. And what is very important? Yes, I set a system. I say it has to happen. But what is very important is we need to have the system environment. So this is a nice picture again. Most of these slides are made by Manjuna. What was made by DP and Bangladesh is modified it. There's a picture, please talk about it. When we talk about the systems environment, and just one example, please. What you get by looking at this picture at the right corner? Yes. Germination of a seed. Yeah, Yogesh.
Only when there is a conducive environment, the seed will be like.
Only when there is a conducive atmosphere, environment, the seed will sprout and then become a plant. Anybody else? Really, for the system to work, the atmosphere is also, the environment is also very important. The seed is lucky. It's fallen on the soil, moist, or it is water, it is sprouted, then it's become a small plant. Very lucky, none of these birds or cows are born and eaten it also. See, such a nice conducive atmosphere here. So imagine the seed to fall on a dry land or somewhere else. It could be picked up by a bird also eaten. The seed, you don't expect it to grow into a small plant. So that's how the systems and the environment, if it is conducive, then it is helpful to achieve the goal. So we say the goal of medical education is to produce a certified doctor, medical profession at the end of 4.5 years who would act like the first line primary physician. So if the medical college atmosphere is conducive, you provide him all the knowledge, experience, you have patients, he cannot become the first line primary physician to take care of it. He will not teach or he has not learned anything. So if the atmosphere is non-conducive, then the goal achievement is definitely not possible. So when we talk about the types of systems, two very good examples to talk about the types of systems. One is an open system, the other is closed system. So open system, I take the same example. It says running car. Why running car? As an example for open system. Can we change this running system? Car is running. Can we manipulate it? Just the car starts and it keeps going. Can manipulate it? I apply a brake and somebody comes in between. There's a hump, I slow down. I stop near signal light. So I can change the gear. I can change the speed. I can do anything and I'm sitting in the car. So that is an open system. Whereas closed system, the only rocket. We just ride the rocket. It just goes. As it is going, we know it is going to fall on somebody's head. But we can change the direction of this rocket. We can't do anything. Unless that person, he has to move away from this falling on his head. Nothing would be done. It just goes and does whatever is supposed to do. So that is the closed system. So when we look at open and closed system, this is a better system. Open system, we can change. So whenever we feel the system is not running in a proper way, we can re-look at what is happening and change it. So open system responds to changes by functioning interacts with other changes. But closed system is just self-sufficient and self-regulatory, no interaction with the environment, no exchange of material also. So we are happy with open system where there is continuous interaction. We get inputs, then process them and adjust wherever required. So then how a good system should be? What do we expect? Or what are the qualities of a good system? When we say it should be effective, or we look at its effectiveness, efficiency, dependability, flexibility, acceptability. Then we say this is an open system which should run in a better way. So what is systems approach then? So we are all becoming management oriented individuals. So it's a management tool. They say, how am I involved as just a teacher of a medical college? How can I bring about it? You can definitely, as a unit, you can bring about some changes in your department. Management tool. So when we started the evaluation system 2006, so the pathology department brought in a system where the internal assessment papers are corrected in a particular manner. 60 marks paper, we say 20 marks each. 30 teachers were adopted, and so there is no discrepancy. Some teacher was very lenient, the student may get 50 out of 60. Somebody who is strict may get 30, but we say let us avoid all this and then on. Later on, when Umagan became HOD, I'm sure they're following this in their department. Now, Department of Microbiology also has adapted it. So, we never took permission of principal or anybody. So, the departmental decision, the head and all the teachers sat together and we did this. So, at our level, what could be done is, so systems approach is a management tool that allows individuals to examine all aspects of the organization, to interrelate the effects of one set of decisions to another, So there are a lot of subsystems for this systems approach of an educational institution. The structural subsystem, the task activities, skills and all that. The social subsystem. And all these systems are there. We know how it starts from infrastructure and all that. So when we look at this, we know how the subsystems work. So the functional stages of a system: input, output, then the process. It's very easy to understand this. We go to a flow there. So input there is, say, rice or ragi, whatever. So once the input is there, what do I expect? I expect the flour to be made. So the rice has to go through this process, and I expect the rice flour here. So what if the rice comes out as such? But the system is not working. So that process has to happen. So this is how, what is the input for a medical college? Students, plus 2 who have cleared. So what is the output? Again the students. So output and input are same here, the students only. So we call this as transformation of input to output. Rice to rice flour is the throughput. So medical student, say plus 2 BU student, to be a medical graduate. So that is the throughput. So he goes through a process. So this process, as I gave you an example, it could be expected, or you always expect this to happen. Expected, unexpected. Expected is again, our goal is a certified doctor who will take care of a patient in the community. That is expected. So if we cannot do that, then we say it is unexpected. So a system is not working. So we have to go back and look at what is wrong. So this input, if we just look at it, don't you think input is also output for some other system? So input here are plus 2 students, 10 plus 2. So their output for their college, wherever they study. So how output has become input here. So this system, we need to know what is inside the system, what is outside the system. So there's always a boundary between inside the system and outside of the system. We consider human body as a system. So then the environment. So if I am a single system, so my environment is other people. Or the environment if we talk about, then the body is bounded by skin as the boundary. So there's always a boundary here. So if we talk about this, an individual with other individuals as an environment, so if we are bound together, we could form a family. So here we form medical college, or individually we can say the subsystems departments. All the departments put together, they become the medical college. So what is there in the higher system? The super system is Bapuji Educational Association. So all it's got so many colleges. So what is the input for Bapuji Educational Association? There's so many students who are entering. So when we talk about Bapuji Educational Association, say thousands, 5,000 enter. So what is the output? How many graduate? And do we know? So this is only grossly we know what is the input, what is the output. So as medical college, professionals, do we know in detail about it? No. So these people who become graduates could be medical graduates, could be dental graduates, could be from BE, BA, B1, whatever is there. So we don't know the process, what is happening exactly. It is not transparent to us when we look at it. So it looks like a black box. So we are just looking at input and output. So if we just look at how much of fuel is consumed in davangere, and the output, that is how much pollution this is emitting. So we get to know only these two constituents, the amount of fuel and the pollution. So what is happening in between is not very clear to us unless you do a real research going with how many vehicles and what each vehicle. So we don't know what we want is this. So the input we know and the output we know. At least we want to talk about the pollution or pollution control. So that which is not clear, we say it is a black box. Whereas in our medical college, we know the So we call this as a white box. So if it's better to modify it is easy when we have this systems like that. So medical college is a functional unit. So the system institutional goal is educating students, and what is expected is a qualified health professional. So the functional stage of the system, it depends on the institutional goal. Then we have the subsystems. We have various departments, multidisciplinary, interconnected, and a conducive atmosphere for which a lot of other interactions are there to provide this. So the input here are the learners. Only learners. So we have the teaching learning resources. So where do we fall? You know inputs? Teaching learning resource? What is teachers? Yes, students who enter plus 2, and teaching learning resources are 4 M's. What are these 4 M's? Teaching learning resource. So we want this student to go through the process. He has to become the best certified doctor who would do what is expected. So what is required here? All of us? Man, yes. Then material money. What is next M? Another M? Minutes. Time. The curriculum time. So there are 4 things that are required here. So man or the human resource, the teachers, the material, whatever is required to train the student, so hardware, software, everything, money, finance. Very important to pay for all of this and to buy what is required as the learning, teaching resources. And minutes, time. So we have a curriculum time that is scheduled. We cannot say we make him as a certified doctor in 10 years. No, we are given only 4.5 years the curriculum time. So we must stick to it. That is the input. So there are several steps involved in this process and then looking at the output. So what is this process? It's a 3-step process. One is aim and objectives. So if we have aim and objectives, then we proceed further. So we plan and implement the teaching learning process depending on that. So here when we talk about medical graduate, we know what teaching learning process and what needs to be implemented. So we have DMLT course also. So we know what is the aim and objectives. We know how to plan a teaching learning source for the process for them. Then after this, sure, then how is the outcome? How do we know this is the outcome? This is by planning and implementing a scheme of evaluation of the outcome of learning. So we will test that, we will evaluate to see whether the aim and objectives set are satisfactory or we have met with the aim and objective. So it's a cyclical process. Is it better it is a spiral one and not just a closed circle? So it should be a spiral model. So if nothing happens as expected, we will go back and see where what went wrong. So first year MBBS, preclinical, we got only 53% results. So we need to go back and see what, where, how it went wrong, and then revise or implement another system. So the second process where we could do better. So we have to look at that system. So aims and objectives we saw is dependent on based on our specifications. So here we said expected characteristics of a graduate. That means it is learner centered. So we look at the objective which is learner centered. So we look at the outcome which is based on how the student becomes the better. It's not a teacher oriented or teacher-centered, it is learner-oriented objective. So this depends on the resources available, the curriculum time, the faculty strength, experience, learning resource material, and funds. So many things are they play a role in achieving our aim and objectives. So planning and implementation, this is again based on the purpose and objectives achieved by the learners. So based on evaluation, at the end of the study period, we get an idea as the actual outcome. So expected outcome, actual outcome, after the results we know whether we are into it. So the process is deciding suitable teaching, the strategies, methodologies, then systems operation, implementation. So once I design the implementation, then evaluation based on the objectives. So these things in the process, they work together for the expected outcome. So the output is attainment of the objectives. If the objectives are as per desired, then we allow the system to continue. So if it is not a desired outcome, then we look at it. If they are not achieved, then certain modifications need to be made in the system. So the system in this case can be restructured, reorganized, and its function will be replanned for better results. So that is the advantage of open system. So the output, the actual outcome is as expected. The output specification, we are very happy with the system. We say the process is effective in achieving the outcome. So effectiveness of the system, we say the system is working very effectively. So that means it indicates the extent to which the desired outcome is achieved. So if there is a gross discordance between the outcome and output specification, that is if the graduates are not competent as primary care physicians, then we say our system is ineffective. We need to relearn at it. So efficiency depends on the time, the cost, the sources, it is the quantity. It's just an example here. So somebody spends 100 crore, a college spends 100 crores to educate 50 students. And another college spends 100 crores to educate 100 students. When we are looking at the quality of output, both are same. So which is more efficiently working? The second one, where 100 crores is spent to educate 100 students. This is how we look at the efficiency of the system. So in open system, we have, at this stage, we have a chance to revise the process, and this revision takes back on feedback, based on the feedback. So who gives the feedback? We need to start there. It is the students who graduate, it is their parents, it is the public, it is other people who are involved in this. So they give us a feedback. If we know the feedback we can always change. A closed system is non-responsive and then non-functional. So importance of the system's approach to education is, it gives us a framework for planning, decision making, and problem solving. Very important. So we can look at it at our level. So the other higher level will be taken up by the management. Then it helps. It provides a unified focus on the institutional efforts, helps to look at institution as a whole and not as part. So we are looking at the output, how a medical graduate, how he could perform, not just looking at a particular department. So as a whole, medical college as a whole, we look at the output specification. It helps in bringing efficiency in the administration and management and the maximum utilization of the resources and even the examination, evaluation, whatever system we could improve with this. So then design, control, improve the quality. So ultimately we look at quality of education which will be improved. So feedback evaluation process, I told you how it goes. So I think we at college, we have 2 batches of students who have graduated. We need to start this. So students, teachers, public parents, academicians take the feedback and then make it suitable changes wherever necessary. So what is our role as a teacher? If we say, what is my role? What do I know about this system? So each one of us could look at it so we can see that system could work better, it could run better. So the traditional role of a teacher is only human resource input. But So what is expected? Is an enlightened teacher, much more than just a teacher. So we should act as system specialists. So we can plan, guide, implement. So that's how universities, take different teachers as, for their board of studies members to get the input. So teachers are there. So they're in the management level. So work as administrators, principals, then vice chancellors, registrars. So not teachers who are placed at various levels. So we should work as system specialists. So again, if we say I cannot do anything in the department, it is my HOD, my professor or principal who does. So there is another model. Why do we consider ourselves as a particular system? So this is systematic educational process. If we know this, we can bring about a change in the department. Or why don't we bring a change in ourselves? Can we look at teacher as a system model? From now on, once we learn about the system, the input, process, output. So can I not just look at myself as a system? Because I teach the student. So what is my goal? What do I expect from the student? Am I doing this, my teaching job, in a particular way? Or is there anything that I need to change the process? So should I use a different methodology? Should I make different groups? And the system in the department, how it works. So depending on the group, we make the large group into small, so we use different methodologies. It's not just only a lecturing or a didactic lecture, say small group teaching, website, clinics, practicals, everything, the process which happens. Ultimately, each of us have the goal set by the university for the department. We have the objectives. So can I not look at myself as a system and then improve? Definitely that contributes to the efficiency of your department. So once it contributes to efficiency of the department, then we can look at the efficient working of a medical college. So the input, process, output, expected and unexpected. So system, I think few words are now very well registered. How we can work as a system. Of course, for a medical college to work as a system, we need to plan, implement. It has to come from the higher authorities. So in summary, so when I began, we said we have 3 objectives for the session. At the end of the session, so we should be able to define a system. Now we know, even if you do not define a system, at least the input, output and the process. Always we say, let it be an expected process, unexpected, let us go back, review it and then change and then come back to the expected output. Because it's an open system and we know changes could be done at any stage, any time required. So then describe medical education from systems perspective, yes, and we have described ourselves also as system specialists, not just teachers. We are there in planning, implementing, everything we do starting from timetable and making groups. All this process is within us. So we work as a system specialist in medical education or education planning. Ultimate goal should be the efficiency and effectiveness of a system. So this is about systems approach. So I felt this topic is